Move on to the weekly discussion. So, since we're starting up a new season here, we thought it'd be very apropos to talk about when do you drop an anime? When do you start something and you realize, this isn't for me, right? I'm not enjoying the show. People may like it, but this isn't for me. I'm not going to stick around for the entire run. And traditionally, it was known as the 3-episode rule. So you want to explain what that 3-episode rule is, Jeremy? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, so the 3-episode rule is just, when you start watching a show after 3 episodes, if you don't like it or you don't want to continue, then, you just drop it. You got a little bit of taste, so, now you just drop it and bam, now you can go to something else, that you're going to watch the full thing of.
Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, AnyTube, I guess we'll call it, back in the early 2010s, everyone talked about the 3-episode rule. Like, people actually lived and died by the 3-episode rule. Like, anime YouTubers, like, sometimes they'd be like, yeah, like, that show was cool, but it didn't pass my 3-episode rule. And it's like, oh, damn. So yeah, the first question that we have is really just kind of for ourselves. Like, do you follow the 3-episode rule now in 2021 still? Or have you ever?
Personally, I'm a mad lad, so I've never followed the 3-episode rule. The only rule I really have is like the first 10-second rule. Like when you drop when you drop something, you're like, oh, take backsies. That's only happened like twice, where it's like I start an episode, I'm like, I see the first like 10 seconds, I'm like, oh no, I'm out. Like this, like Gamers. I don't know if anyone knows, but Gamers, like a few seasons ago, I watched the first 10 seconds, heard the MC talk, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'm out of here.
Nope.
Like for me, once I get like an episode in, I'm in. I'm the mad lad. I've seen so many shows I probably should have stopped after just the first episode, let alone the third. But personally, I've never followed it because I never drop anything. I'm more of like, I want to see the best and the worst. You got to appreciate the best by seeing the worst for me. So 100%. I personally never followed it. But what do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I would agree with you in that. And we're both completionists in that aspect, right? Like, even if the ship is going down, like, the ship is, we're not surviving here. Like we're going under. You still stick around just so you can, and not to reference it again, but that's exactly how I felt with Promised Neverland second season. Because the first season hooked me so much, I felt indebted to the show to at least see how it ends. And, yeah, it's everything I thought and worse. But for me, I never really followed the 3-episode rule. For me, it was honestly the 1-episode rule. Like, I cannot tell you how many anime I've seen the first episode of and I never watched anything past it. If I get 3 episodes into a show, I'm going to finish it. I might not finish it immediately, but it's on my list of like, okay, like I have to go back and revisit that one and I have to eventually finish that someday, right? So like It's planned, but yeah, there's tons of anime that I've seen the first episode of and I'm just like, yeah, no. And I have no plans on going back to it. So yeah. Yeah, do you think the 3-episode rule is good? Like, do you think that's a good way to actually spend your time watching anime or trying out new anime? Like,
yeah, I think as a newbie, if you're getting right into anime, you don't really know much about, but 3-episode rule is really good, mostly for seasonal kind of things. Like something where you don't know, no one has seen the full 2 episodes. It's coming out right now. Mm-hmm. So for seasonal stuff, I think the 3-episode rule is fantastic. You see 3 episodes, you can't really look at the scores because that's super subjective off like just the first 3.
Yeah,
and that's not even the overall series. You don't even know if the overall series is going to be good. So for seasonal stuff, I think 3-episode rule is good. Usually you're not watching like 20 things for seasonal, maybe like 10 or so. You can narrow it down just a few more if you need more time. But for like overall, just like, if you're going back to watch something older, I think the 3-episode rule doesn't really follow for me because now you can have so much more information to go off of. You can see like the overall finished score. Like, was it actually like overall a good experience? Or like you maybe can see some of the reviews, like a quick review, just like, okay, the animation wasn't very good, but the story was good, or something like that. So you at least have a lot more better idea than just going in blind like with the seasonally.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point on your behalf because seasonally, I mean, people can hype up a show all they want. The trailer can look great, but I mean, how many seasonal stuff have we seen where the trailer looks great and it doesn't pan out? Like, and you don't know it's airing. You know what I mean? Like, no one knows. So everyone's watching these episodes week by week in real time, and yeah, with the previous aired show. I mean, you have a general consensus, right? Like this show is super sad, or this show is really good, but the ending is shit, or you know what I mean? Like it's really good the first half, but then the second half takes a dive. Like you at least kind of have somewhat some expectations to go in with, but yeah, with seasonal stuff, yeah, the 3 episode rule is probably really good. I don't think thinking back, I don't think I've really dropped anything seasonally from any of the past seasons, but yeah, if I was hating something and 3 episodes in, like it doesn't, I hated all three and it doesn't look like it's getting any better, like why would you stay around? You know what I mean? Like this is a hobby. This is for entertainment. Like if you're not being entertained, that's the disparity there, right? Like we're both completionists. We want to complete a bunch of stuff. So we at least have that experience and we know our complete thoughts on the show, right? But at the same time, if something has hundreds of episodes and you're not liking any of it, well, you're just kind of wasting your time at that point. Like you're not going to impress anyone by saying that you've watched all of One Piece, but you don't like any of it. You know what I mean? Like if it's not for you, it's not for you, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think that's a really good point for seasonal stuff. I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, and you brought up a little bit ago, but like, yeah, the first 3 episodes really like encapsulate what the whole show's going to be. Usually, obviously, when they create the show, they don't think, oh yeah, we have to make sure the first 3 episodes are really good, and then, but it's all about like watching the 3 episodes. Okay, do I like what those 3 episodes are doing? Like, do I have a general idea how this is going? Do I like these characters? Do I just hate these characters? And then you can make a decision like, okay, I liked a lot of this aspect. I can live with maybe one of these things I don't really like, but the rest was good, so I'll just continue watching. But if you watch it the rest of it, and you're like, oh, I hated every single one of these things. Easy drop right there.
Let me push back against you here for a second. I think that the studios and the creators are very aware of, nailing a beginning, and maybe not 3 episodes, maybe 5, maybe 2, maybe 1. But I think writers and directors, I think they're very aware that they need to hook in an audience immediately. So, and that's why you see with certain shows, I can name drop a few, but the beginning will look better towards than the end seasonally because the animation budget, they blew their load on the beginning, very visually appealing fight scene or, just something that really hooks you. And then you get to episode 11, 12, and it's like, oh, this show doesn't look nearly as good as it used to. And the reason why shows they never get better later on, but they never really, look better later on is because they're trying to hook you in the beginning, right? So if they're going to show you the best of the best and give you all the goods, they're going to do it at the beginning. That way you stay for the whole ride. You know what I mean? And so
I see.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think. That's how I would assume. I mean, think of Attack on Titans. You remember that Levi fight, the very famous one. The camera angle's dipping through, and he's going. When he meets up with Kenny and all that. The reason they do that, the reason that they throw all that Sakuga at you in the beginning of the season is because they want you to be like, like I'm hooked. I want to see more of this. But then you get towards the end of the season and it looks good, but it doesn't have as many of those moments. You know what I mean? Because they've already hooked you. They already got you to stay and be tuned in for the ride, right?
Mm. Yeah, and usually it's a little bit harder for the 3 episode rule for something like a long running thing like a One Piece or like Attack on Titan. Unfortunately,
yeah.
But usually if you have to start worrying about that, it's already a show that's already the first season or something is already previously aired or something. That's why the 3 episode rule like sometimes doesn't work too well. It's like if it's already if watching you're like, oh, should I stop at like episode 3 of like season 3? It's like. That's a lot harder. It's like, you already, for me, if I already watched like the first few seasons and like the first few episodes of a season are kind of slow, it's like, okay, it's just the beginning, maybe it'll get back to its heights. But that's a totally different conversation than like the first three episodes of a show.
True. It's very different. I mean, think about us talking about Boku no Hero today. I mean, just because this episode was kind of blah, are we just going to drop it? Like, no, we're already in so deep. Like, we're in so far. Like, there's no way in hell we're going to drop it. You know what I mean? Like, 5 seasons in, that's a commitment. Like, whether this ride goes astray or whether it gets really good, like, we're here for the ride. You know what I mean? Like, we're here for the whole thing, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, it would take a lot for me to stop watching that show completely. Like, you know what I mean? Just because we've sat through so many episodes, we're just too invested at this point. But yeah, with seasonal stuff, none of it's aired previously, or let's forget the continuing stuff. But all the new seasonal stuff, like, you have no idea. So I guess the 3-episode rule is
no one has no idea.
Exactly. Especially the anime original stuff, right? Like, not even a manga. Like, a good example, JoJo Part 7 or Appare Ranman, which premiered last year. I forget which season, but because it's an anime original, we have no idea. And so we're looking at the trailer thinking, oh, like JoJo Part 7, like this is going to be an interesting, fun anime. And then we watch it and it didn't really live up to that hype. In our opinion, we didn't really love it. But yeah, no one knows because we don't even have a manga source to go off of in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would completely agree. So like, yeah, just to do like a quick review. Just like, it's basically just 3-episode rule is good for like seasonal stuff. No one really knows, especially if it's the first season of something. It's perfect. 3 episodes, like you already have a whole hour of content to go through. Like, okay, I like some of these characters' interaction or something. Didn't like how the main character is or something. Or like the art looks really nice, or I hate it, blah blah blah. So like that's perfect for it. But for some older things or for like multiple seasons, it kind of just falls apart, unfortunately, because there's so much other things you can go off of.
True. Yeah, you just have more. You just have more to gauge it off of, right? Like the fan reaction, the haters, the lovers, people that say it's really good for this, or if you're into this type of anime, you'll like this one. With a seasonal show, you really don't know. You are going in blind, and yeah, that is where the 3-episode rule would come in. And it's funny for me, seeing as a decade later, we're still kind of talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, people still bring it up, and it's still a thing. For me, it's kind of like the 1-episode rule. Like, if I get past 1 episode, I'm probably in for the ride. But there have been plenty of shows that I've dropped after the first episode, no doubt. And Jerms is a little bit more of a completionist, so you're a mad lad. You wanna finish everything you start. You know what I mean?
I start a little too many, but I saw I'll make it in the end.
Yep. So yeah, guys, let us know in the comments below. Do you follow the 3-episode rule? And what are your thoughts on the 3-episode rule? Chat with us in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you guys, and just what your overall thoughts are on it.